Shalom. Once again, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and all other elders that teach the exact same thing only. Salutations to the hopeful elect across the four corners of the earth, and the sincere spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Rakakwadash, beginning with the 144,000. Now, this lesson will be entitled something down the lines of these camps outside of GMS are or I may just simply entitle it what is it? Kaniaiho Toikas, which means whited wall or sellout, right? And this comes from the response that the elder GMS South Carolina had posted up. I was watching last night while I was at work or whatever, and I was immediately vexed. And I don't watch these other camps outside of Great Millstone besides the other camps who follow and teach the same thing as Great Millstone, which is of the 100% truth for Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, right? Yeah, so this is watching the video, it's just evident. The only way you can't see that ISUPK, IURC, and various other so-called Israelite groups have sold out, took the bag, is if you've been blinded, is if the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah and the Holy Spirit is not dealing with you. Because it's clear as day that these niggas, that's what they is, man. These niggas is the elites of the 2/3, man. In my mind, they it's Esau, it's Esau, the elites of Esau, Eve, right? And Eve, the nigga woman, then fucking these Hebrew Israelite, these false prophets, and these other Hebrew Israelite groups outside of Great Millstone that don't teach the truth of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah. They call on the names of Jesus Christ. They do shit like this, right? They tie themselves with titles that shouldn't be linked with the Hebrew Israelites. Real nigga university. That to call yourself a real nigga, that's some street shit, man. That's some worldly shit. That's some shit these rappers like to claim and boast of, Oh, I'm a real nigga. Nobody, first of all, to be a nigga is to be less of a man. I think 3/5 of a man is what Esau viewed us as, going back to hardcore bondage, hardcore slavery, right? To be a nigga is to be less of a man, right? And as well as a so-called African American, to be a nigga is to claim the title that was thrown on us by our enemies, Esau, Edom. It goes back to Niger and all that, but you didn't, Yahweh Shah wasn't calling us calling the elect real nigga, or y'all real niggas, This shit is a fucking desperate attempt to to look good in the eyes of our people while claiming to be in the truth. You know? So I'm gonna grab a couple scriptures and Lord willing, this be edifying, not too long, straight to the point, right? So this is where the term came from, right? Because I was reading this last night as well. Basically, going over history, trying to get my history up or whatever, and that, I'm in the time of the Romans. So Julius Caesar, and what the fuck is Julius Caesar, Caesar Augustus, Herod the Great, Tiberius, Julius Caesar, Pontius Pilate, Caligula, right? That's what I've been going over or whatever. So and it was just the spirit that I just so happened to read this passage and in the same night watch this video of these niggas, these so-called Hebrew Israelites, just committing all types of buffoonery, and bringing a bad light to being a Hebrew Israelite, man. All right, so this is Acts chapter 23. This is in the Good News translation. It says, Paul looked straight at the council and said, "My fellow Israelites, my conscience is perfectly clear about the way in which I have lived before Yahweh to this very day." So first of all, Paul, once he was brought into the fold, once Yahweh Shah knocked him off the horse, blinded him, right, and sent him to Damascus so he could receive further instructions on what he should do. He was healed from his blindness, and he was sent to Jerusalem. I think by a man named Ananias, right? And when he went to Jerusalem and he taught in the temple, the Jews grabbed him up, and was looking to kill him, accusing him of teaching lies, causing division amongst the Israelites, and bringing Greeks into the temple, defiling the temple with heathens, which they weren't heathens. They were Israelite foreigners. They were raised Greek, but their bloodline went back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that was what Paul was. Paul was sent to the Israelite foreigners. The Israelites who grew up to be Gentiles and didn't know any better. Just like we grew up being thinking that we were so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians because of being raised in a society which is controlled by our enemies, And so Paul was pleading his case. Verse 2, it says the high priest Ananias, and I that's, it's crazy how the Lord used two different men with the same name, if I'm not mistaken, right? Because Paul was sent to Damascus and when he met Ananias, if I'm not mistaken, his blindness was healed. His blindness was cured, if I'm not mistaken, and he received further instruction to go to Jerusalem. And in Jerusalem, he wound up being grabbed up, and the high priest of the Jews at the time, Ananias, right, which had the same name as the man who sent him to Jerusalem, right? They wasn't the same person, and if you're not, it could confuse you if you're not careful. You like, hold up, this the same person. It wasn't the same person. It was two different people with the same name. The Lord showing, right, like the same. It's like you got Hebrew Israelite groups, right? But you got the righteous, you got the elect, and then you got the false prophets, right? They both under the banner of Hebrew Israelites. They all go back to their bloodline actually does go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they all are Israelites. But you have to know the difference between the two. That's how the Lord works. That's part of the trying and testing of your faith. These are stumbling blocks and hurdles that the elect only will be able to get over. Being able to maneuver through finding the truth and not getting caught up in these Israelite groups who are led by false prophets, taught by false prophets. It's much more of them than it is camps that teach the 100% truth of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Salaki. It says the high priest Ananias ordered those who were standing close to Paul to strike him in the mouth. So the high priest, he commanded that Paul be smacked or punched in the mouth. Right? Paul said to him, Yahweh will certainly strike you, you whitewashed wall. You sit there to judge me according to the law, yet you break the law by ordering them to strike me. Right? So that's the point. Right? I'm going to read it in KJV. And Paul, earnestly beholding the council, said, Men and brethren, I have lived in all good conscience before Yahweh unto this day. And the high priest Ananias commanded them that stood by him to smite him on the mouth. Then said Paul unto him, Yahweh shall smite you, thou whited wall, for sittest thou to judge me after the law, and commandest me to be smitten contrary to the law. And that's what these niggas is doing, man. They're claiming to be upholders of the law. They're claiming to be ordained to teach this truth and lead others to learn this truth. But then at the same time, that they claim to they're supposed to judge according to the law, right? But at the same time, they pass false judgments. They lie on the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and pass false judgment on them. Accusing brothers of basically being false prophets, brothers of being grapists, violating, little girls and things like that. They call themselves judging from the law, but they judge according They judge laws. They don't judge properly according to the law. They're hypocrites. And so, and the reason for that is because they've sold out. They took the bag. These IURC and ISUPK definitely, you know, is under that 501c3 charter. And that's why they're not teaching the names. And they're teaching false doctrines. Such as hell. They definitely don't know they definitely not teaching the truth of the MOTB pursuing of Revelation 13:16. They're definitely not teaching that's the micro C-hip technology. And so and that's what it all boils down to. The names, your faith in the proper names, being taught right according to the proper names, and if you're taught right, you understand that the last test of faith is that micro C hip, the MOTB. And if you're not being taught correctly, then you're destined for destruction. You're liable to fail the test. And so, right, whited, for the word whited, right, is kaniao.
Strong's G 2867. Kaniao.
Kaniao, right? To cover with lime plaster over whitewash. The Jews were accustomed to whitewash the entrance to their sepulchres. Sepulchres. I don't know how to pronounce that really good, but basically it's graves, right? As a warning against defilement by touching them. Term applied to a hypocrite who conceals his malice under an outward assumption of piety. Right. So, because to it's against the law, or it's a part of the law, that if you touch a dead body, that you have to separate yourself from the rest of the congregation, because you're now unclean until your days of purification is clear. I think it's 7 days or something like that. You have to be separate from those who haven't been defiled by a dead body, right? And it was a custom, became to paint the walls of our graves, as a warning to those, visiting graves or walking by, to not touch them, or they would be defiled and they would have to go through the process of purification, right? But overall, right, this represents these false camps, these false prophets. They look good on the outside, but on the inside, they're dead. They don't possess the truth. They're teaching lies. They go through great efforts to convince the masses that they are dealing with the truth, but by what? By their marches, their numbers, their organizational skills, their matching garments, t-shirts, their names, they're very similar. They're no different than these churches, who teach plantation Christianity, teach the form of the Bible, the form of the truth that was taught by our enemies, to deceive us into knowing that we are the Hebrew Israelites. The only thing now is that they teach you that you're a Hebrew Israelite, but they still teaching a lot of lies, that our enemies taught. To call yourself a real nigga, that's a clear cut case. Um, and it's pathetic. It's very disgraceful, man. They making the Lord look bad. But this, that's the scripture. For you can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. You doing for the elect. You're just you're. It's a good thing because you're making it even more known that the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shah is not dealing with you, and you're keeping away the only people that will stumble, fall, and be destroyed by your teaching of lies is those who weren't meant to be saved anyway. So this is Matthew chapter 23, verse 25. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye make clean the outside of the cup and of the platter, but within they are full of extortion and excess. Right? Excess is incontinence. The lack of self-control. These which is what these other camps do. They be doing too much, man. They go through great, got niggas doing push-ups and shit. That's that, like, there's nothing. We're supposed to be disciplinarians, but Yahweh Shai ain't have the disciples doing push-ups and walking in the mirror in the military line and chanting, hey ho, hey, like that's what they do in the fucking military, man. All right. Another thing ISUPK is known for is carrying weapons, man. That's not going to do nothing but give Esau, Edom, and the masses of the society a reason to come up against us. You helping Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, to demonize this truth. So when they paint, when they put the label of a terroristic group or a hate group, right? That's what this this guy who appears to be an Edomite, Tommy G, the one who did the interview, that's his whole agenda, to bring bad, to prove that the Hebrew Israelite thing is a hate group, which is the same label that they put on the KKK. The teachings of Yahweh Shem Shai, right, is not all about hate. It's really out of love. To hate your enemies is to love yourself, is to love your nation. And even still, no matter how much we're taught to not trust our enemies, and to know who our enemy is, right? And to speak against, to speak into existence the destruction of our enemies. The scripture also says the weapons of our warfare are not carnal but spiritual. We're commanded, you're going off when promoting taking matters into our own hands and violently with weapons, with carnal weapons, going to war against Esau, Edom, and as means of bringing in the kingdom of heaven. It's not going to work that way. The scriptures say, "Wait ye upon me." basically we are commanded to wait for Yahweh Shah to return, for this devil to be brought down. But I know, we are not commanded to take matters into our own hands carnally, man. All right. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye make clean the outside of the cup and of the platter, but within they are full of extortion. Right, and that's what they doing. They lack self-control. They desperately want attention. They desperately want numbers, and the reason for that is so that they can extort their congregation out of money. Extort them out of their spirit, their faith. They teach lies. They reel you in with the organization, with the matching garments, with the fancy Passovers, fucking concerts at Passovers, and nice fancy decorated halls for holy days, and you could meet a woman, you could meet a man, you could start a family, you gotta pay for everything, that's extortion, and Yahweh Shah, he one of the only times he did get out of character, was when uh uh um they were making merchandise of the truth in the temple, roughly paraphrasing, when he made the whip of with that whip, and he went turning over the tables, and they was making merchandise of the truth, basically. So Salakia. So they extort you, they get in your minds into believing that they have the truth, and you have to pay to be a part of their congregation. You have to pay for whatever services that they provide to you, and you pay it thinking that you're gonna be delivered. You're being led to the truth. Matthew 23 and 26. Thou blind Pharisee, cleanse first that which is within the cup and platter, that the outside of them may be clean also. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye are like unto white sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones, and of all uncleanness. It's all about money, a good time, vainglory, fame, numbers to these off camps, these false prophets, these camps who are led by false prophets. They had the guys doing push-ups. I don't know, I guess they was late. I guess it was a certain group of men that was late or whatever, and he was, I don't know exactly what his name is. He was one of the leaders. He was going off, saying that you don't deserve to be a part of my cult, or maybe he was talking, indirectly talking to the guy that appeared to be an Edomite, Tommy G, indirectly. You can't be a part of, but the point is that he said you can't be a part of our cult. You don't deserve to be a part of our cult. To call to call your organization, to refer to the truth as a cult, that's bringing a bad light, That's what they put on. That's the label that they put on a organization that is known for doing witchcraft and committing sin and doing like human sacrifices and shit like that, man. All right, like Jim Jones, you know, the real Jim Jones. But that's the point, right? These guys go through great efforts to look good on the outside, but they actually sold out. They actually sold out, and they don't possess the light. They don't possess the truth. They're full of darkness. They're not alive in the spirit, right? They're dead. Even so, ye also outwardly appear righteous unto men, but within ye are full of hypocrisy and iniquity. That's it on that. I'm gonna finish it right. And so this is a picture of whited sepulchres, right? And this is the embodiment of these Israelite groups outside of Great Millstone that don't teach the exact same thing. They teach Jesus Christ. They give you a Hebrew name, like Apostle Tahar said. That's a straight cut. What's the purpose? Why do you need a Hebrew name, right? But the Lord's name in the Hebrew isn't important. What's the purpose of you denouncing your slave name and taking on a Hebrew name if the Lord's Hebrew name is insignificant and to help bring people into the truth? You use the so-called slave, the slave name of the Lord. The Lord, the elect who will be saved, who will be delivered from the thermonuclear destruction, the hellfire set on earth, primarily here in America, will only be those who calls on the names of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, right? Which is the Most High's name and His only begotten Son name in the Hebrew, man. Those are the only names that the Heavenly Father, His only begotten Son, will acknowledge in the day of judgment. This is Proverbs 21, and I'll finish with this. It's Proverbs 21 and 15. It is joy to the just to do judgment, right? In the kingdom of heaven is when the elect, those who will be justified of their sins, exempt from judgment, right, will be set up as righteous kings and judges to rule the earth with the law, statutes, and commandments, right? And it's gonna be a fun thing. It's gonna the elect are gonna enjoy every bit of establishing perfect order and structure on the earth through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, through the order of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, right? It is joy to the just to do judgment, but destruction shall be to the workers of iniquity, right? These false prophets, the members of these off Israelite groups outside of Great Millstone, right? They're gonna wind up receiving that micro C hit, right? And they're going to, which is going to, they're going to be destined for destruction, rather than exempt. Verse 16, the man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. And that's the embodiment of these other Israelite groups. Like I said earlier, and they're wandering out of the way of the truth. by teaching things that are contrary to the 100% pure doctrine of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, teaching Jesus Christ or any other name outside of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, right? Teaching that hell exists, teaching that the MOTB is anything other than a micro C hit, right? Teaching that Edomites can be delivered, you know, linking up with what was the Nation of Islam, right? Proudly claiming to be real niggas, right? Carrying straps, promote, like, yo, it's just too much, man. It's sickening. It really pisses me off, and that's why I can't watch these. I only find out about these the things that these guys do when the other brothers load up videos, like it, but it irks me so much, and I try, and I'm not perfect, none of us are perfect, and I try my, that's one of the things I pray, to Yahweh Shem Yahushua for daily, that he not allow me to remain in the congregation of the dead. I don't want to die a dishonorable death. I don't want to have to die off with these moles, these happy ass people, these false prophets, these niggas, these people who don't give a fuck about trying to please Yahweh Shem Yahushua to the best of their ability, man. All right, and then it makes it worse. These other Israelite groups. What makes it so bad is that at one point in time, they knew the truth. They called upon the names of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. They were teaching the right things, because there's a history to this, to the Hebrew Israelites waking up. Going back to Abba Bivens, and the men that learned from him, and the men that the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone learned from were the same men that these leaders in these other Israelite groups learned from. But so they all grew up learning the same thing, but they wandered out of the way of understanding. So, Lord willing, that was edifying. It didn't take too long, right? Right. Kaniio Toikas, right? These white Kaniio Toikas, whited wall sellout Israelite groups, man. All right. Call Allah Yahweh Shem Yahushai Ba'ashem Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and all other elders that teach the exact same thing only. Citations to the hopeful elect, beginning with the 144,000. Shalom.